Good day, everyone. My name is Reverend Flores, and I'm your reporter, and I will report about challenges on Asian integration. So, yung mga sasabihin ko ngayon ay ilan lamang sa mga challenges na nakaka-apekto sa ASEAN integration. So, ilan dito ay nabanggit sa isang interview ni His Excellency Leluong Min. Siya yung Secretary General as ng Association of Southeast Asian Nations from 2013 until 2017. So, first off is this one. Yan. Asian member states are not guaranteed that they would not face internal conflicts. Even though sinasabi ng ASEAN na ang lahat ng member states are war-free zone, hindi maiiwasan na magkaroon ng conflict ang isang bansa sa ibang bansa, uh, hin, uh, hindi man sa kapwa member states, kundi sa ibang bansa. Paano ito nakaka-apekto? Nakaka-apekto ito sa pakikipagkalakalan, I think, batay din sa pangunawa ko sa nabasa ko, nakaka-apekto ito sa pakikipagkalakalan ng dalawang bansa. Kasi, pag may conflicts ang isang bansa sa isang bansa, uh, parang ituturing niyang uh, kaaway or something uh, na imbis na makikipag-trade siya, hindi na siya makipag-trade kasi nga may conflict silang dalawa. So, yun. Second, yan. The diversity nature of ASEAN politics. Yun nga, hindi naman tayo pare-parehas ng politika. Hindi rin tayo pare-parehas ng mga beliefs, hindi pare-parehas ng culture. Magkakaiba tayong lahat. So, paano siya nakaka-apekto? Nakaka-apekto kasi pag ayon sa aking pangunawa, example, may project or something na gustong ilagay ng isang community ng ASEAN sa blueprint, pero bago niya may ilagay yun, kailangan niya tingnan lahat ng pwedeng maging apektado ng proyektong yun, o may lalabagin ba sila, or meron silang maapektuhan, may insulto sa mga gagawin nila. So, it affects talaga. Third one is the natural disasters. Typhoons, earthquakes, El Nino, etc. na may kaugnayan sa natural disaster. Kasi pag ano ba yung nagagawa ng earthquake? Syempre, pag earthquake devastated, maapektuhan yung bansa. Pag naapektuhan yung bansa, maapektuhan lahat. Pag naapektuhan yung lahat, maapektuhan yung pakikipagkalakalan nila. So, yun lang. Fourth is globalization itself. Why? Globalization affects Asian integration. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng bansa na nakapaloob sa ASEAN ay kaya makipagsabayan sa globalization. Yan. Fifth one is the continuing process of community declaration. Bakit ito nakaka-apekto? Example dyan is yung kamakailang paglaya ng East Timor, according to what I have read. Yun nga, part siya ng Southeast Asia, pero hindi pa siya member ng ASEAN. So, pag may ganito, maapektuhan talaga kasi, yun nga. Yan. The sixth one is tariffs were not eliminated in other countries. Taripa, yung tax na binabayad pang nakikipagkalakalan. So, yung ibang bansa hindi pa ini-eliminate yung tariff. So, hindi pa ganung masasabi na ang ASEAN is a free trade zone. So, isa yun sa mga plano ng nakasal sa ASEAN integration. Yun, this is the last. Tapos, may isa akong itatanong, give your opinions or something na pwede nyong isagot. Ako yung mauuna. para sagutin yung tanong. Ito yung tanong, is the Chinese-Filipino dispute on West Philippine Sea affects the ASEAN integration? Batay sa pagkaintindi ko, it affects somehow kasi China is one of partner countries of ASEAN. So, ang apektuhan dito is the tradings between Chinese and Philippines, uh, not to all the member state kasi ang problema lang kasi hindi lang naman Philippines yung naghahabol sa China na member ng ASEAN. Isa doon yung Malaysia, yung Vietnam. And example is Malaysia and Vietnam. So, it greatly affects kasi yun nga, 'di ba? Sabi nga kanina, yung internal conflicts between two countries. So, maapektuhan yung pagkipag kalakalan, yung communication between two. So, para sa akin, it affects Asian integration. Um, Yun lang. Tapos, yung text na ipapanood ko sa inyo is the cut-off for the interview of Secretary Excellency Leluwang Min sa isang interview which sinagot niya yung mga tanong na may kaugnayan sa Asian integration, yung mga tanong ng reporter. So, kung gusto niyo ring panoorin yung whole clip, andito din yung link and sana panoorin niyo yung cut ng video and thank you.
See, I think we're all aware of what's been happening in the South China Sea over the last 2 years in terms of the extensive island building and militarization programs that we've seen advancing quite rapidly there. But I think it seems clear that China, which is responsible for most of that island building and militarization, does take seriously ASEAN. And I think that my impression is that there is concern on the Chinese side when ASEAN pushes back as a bloc. Otherwise, we would not have seen China making the efforts that we've seen in the last few weeks and months to play up different positions among members of ASEAN. And I think that's because ASEAN's resistance does worry China. So my question is, can we expect to see ASEAN play a stronger role in defending the interests of its members in the South China Sea? And we're expecting a judgment probably within the next 2 months from the Permanent Court of Arbitration on the Philippine case. Are we likely to see an ASEAN statement in response to that judgment when it comes?
On the first part of your question, I would say yes and no. Yes, because we have got, China's commitment to engage more actively with ASEAN in this connection on this, the issue in the negotiation of, a code of conduct. Commitment to start a new phase of consultations in which we would, discuss, negotiate all, the elements, potential, elements of a COC. And we have agreed to intensify, the process of consultations at senior official, level. And actually, more rounds of consultations as such have been organized. So politically, the political commitments are there. Formal commitments are there. Diplomatic commitments are there. So I say yes, there has been progress. No, because we still see a big gap between those diplomatic commitments, those political commitments, and those, formal commitments with the real situation on the ground at sea, where we have seen intensification of activities which go counter to the very spirit and the provisions of the declaration on the conduct of the party in South China Sea that ASEAN and China signed back in 2002, 14 years ago. And the construction of artificial islands, expansion of the already illegally occupied the features and islands, and the setting up of military facilities, which can be taken as militarization of those occupied islands and features, which again all go counter to the spirit and provisions of the DOC, and that would even further complicate the process of negotiating a COC. So, yes and no. And if ASEAN would be, able to, achieve the objective of early conclusion of, the COC. I mentioned the need for ASEAN to maintain the centrality, our central role in, in not only, the dealing with inter-ASEAN issues, but also in the dealing with the flashpoint affecting the peace and stability of our region, and of course the South issue is one among them. If we look at what happened at the time when we failed to even to issue a joint communique on the result of one of the most important meetings of ASEAN, and what we were able to to agree on, then I can say that we can be optimistic. We can be confident in ASEAN ability to move forward together,
yes,
to maintain ASEAN centrality, and to strengthen our central role in dealing with those issues, in in those regional mechanisms that ASEAN leading and ASEAN has initiated.
Thank you very much for answering those questions of mine in such a detailed and careful way, Secretary General.
But the last part of your question, yes, on the
PCA
or the PCA, we have not discussed it yet. The scheduled meeting of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers is for August.
Yes.
And we don't know even when the verdict of the court will come out. But let me say this: if all ASEAN countries, if not all ASEAN countries, would be able to to support any joint statement, I see no reason why any country, any ASEAN country, would oppose to the idea of looking for peaceful solution of dispute. What is one of the main provisions of the DAC that governs inter-state relations, those among ASEAN countries and those among the ASEAN countries and the other DAC parties. And any measure, any legal measure cannot be considered otherwise, as a non-peaceful measure.
Thank you very much. We now have time for a few questions from our audience. If you'd like to ask a question, just raise your hand, and when I recognize you, the microphone will come to you. Then if you could please say who you are and what your affiliation is, if any. Sir, in the middle on the left here.
Thank you. Ambassador Lee.
Could you say who?
I'm sorry. Ian Chong, National University of Singapore. So Ambassador Lee, I'm quite curious about the emphasis that you've placed on ASEAN unity, because I think in recent weeks we've seen reports that China seemed to be peeling off ASEAN members, being divisive within the region, particularly after Wang Yi's visit to Brunei, Cambodia, and Laos. And of course, at the same time, we see Vietnam, the Philippines, and arguably Singapore moving closer to Australia, Japan, the United States. So there's potentially can be an argument made about perhaps a fraying of ASEAN unity. So I'd like you to speak on that, in particular, whether you think that that is actually the case, and if so, what you think ASEAN, and more specifically the Secretariat, which you're in charge of, can do about this situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
First, we are not, even, aware of what, was agreed, between China and those three ASEAN countries mentioned. Cambodia has come out and said, no, we did not have any agreement with China. There was just a visit by the Chinese Foreign Minister, and there was no discussion, there was no agreement. We have heard nothing from, other countries, Laos or, Brunei, on what was agreed, on what happened. And we have not heard anything from China on those, recantation or those, kind of, statement from those countries concerned. But what we know was that, let me say this, we have to be able to distinguish the two aspects of the South China Sea issue, one of settling sovereignty claims. And there, the ASEAN countries, even ASEAN countries, do not have to, have one common position. Because those sovereignty claims have to be resolved among the parties concerned. The difference between the ASEAN position and the Chinese position is that when we talk about the parties concerned, we mean those parties concerned maybe two parties, maybe three parties, maybe four parties, or more parties, depending on the specific dispute. There are disputes concerning only, China and Vietnam, for example, in the area of, the Tonkin Gulf area. There are disputes, concerning not only Vietnam and China, but also concern the Philippines, and there are other disputes which may concern also not only China and Vietnam, Philippines, also Malaysia and Brunei. So one ASEAN country, cannot negotiate with, any other country, with China, on, the shoulder of any other, fellow ASEAN countries. Not only for the need to, to maintain solidarity, but for the fact that, any agreement forged between only two parties concerned would not, resolve problems concerning more than, those two parties concerned. So that's the difference, in the Chinese view and the ASEAN view. But on the second aspect of, the issue, that of maintaining peace and stability, that of maintaining and ensuring the safety of navigation, that of maintaining maritime security, then we are all, ASEAN and China, we are all governed by the DOC that ASEAN and China signed back in 2002. And if, actually, if the DOC, the declaration signed between ASEAN and China in 2002 had been fully and effectively implemented with their own fundamental principle there. International law, the United Nations, Convention on the Law of the Sea of 1982, self-restraint, peaceful solution of dispute, not engaging in activities changing the status quo, and even the early conclusion of a COC that they are all there. So if the DOC had been fully and effectively been implemented, there wouldn't be any need for a new instrument for a COC. The fact that we need a COC, a new instrument, would be one legally binding document. It is for the fact that the DOC had not been effectively and fully implemented, and would lead to the situation what all happened, what all been happening on the ground. And there, of course, ASEAN has only one common position, reflected in its 6-point principle that we adopted back in 2012.
Thank you very much. At the back, in the middle, at the back, sir.
Hi, I'm Aaron Wong from KPMG. ASEAN has recently ratified the unlimited flights for the Free Skies Pact among all ASEAN countries internally. So what I'm wondering is about, would it be too ambitious to envisage true freedom of passage, like a European Union concept among all transportation methods in ASEAN, for example, through the roads and rail and etc.? Thank you.
First, just what we have, learned from, very often people compare what we have in ASEAN, what we are going through in ASEAN, what we are building in ASEAN, and what has, been the experience of the European Union. We are not going to be a supranational, entity. We're not going to be, a supranational, union. ASEAN will remain an intergovernmental, intergovernmental organization. It's not that we will never be there. It's not now the intention of ASEAN to move there. We have learned a lot from the EU experience, not only in what to do and in what not to do. Given our specific conditions, our specific situation. Let's say in ASEAN, what we have, we have still a great, gap of development among the member states. We have a Singapore whose per capita income is 700 times more than that of Myanmar or Cambodia. We have Indonesia, whose population is 60 times bigger than that of Brunei, Jerusalem. And we have different political system in the member states. The ASEAN is considered as one of the most diverse regions in the world, not only in those that I mentioned in the political system, but we jokingly say, in traffic, we are even in traffic, we are diversified. So we have learned a lot. We can learn a lot also from EU experience. But the process of integration in ASEAN is different. And in this specific area of aviation integration also, we have learned a lot of experience from the EU in terms of recognizing the importance of connectivity. And actually, there's it is one of the high priorities on the ASEAN EU agenda of cooperation. But the agreement, the open sky policy that we have in ASEAN, it's not exactly the same what they have in the EU. But if you go to any ASEAN country now, what you see, either it's construction of a new terminals, it's expansion of the existing terminals, of its renovation of the terminals, even in a small country like Brunei, or of course more so in Singapore, Indonesia, in Vietnam, Malaysia. So with this, the last country in ASEAN having ratified the Open Sky Agreement, we see, a lot of opportunities, not only for inter-ASEAN cooperation, but also for that between ASEAN and our partner countries, and it's an important, area of cooperation and integration.
Thank you very much. I'm very struck by what you said about the comparison with the EU, that ASEAN has learned in some cases what to do, but also what not to do, which I think is very significant. We have time for one more question. Yes, madam, here.
My name is Supriya Sen, and I work with McKinsey as a senior advisor. Thank you for your illuminating talk. I work in the area of sustainability, and I would think that in ASEAN, you can make the very diversity as a strength. If you look at an area which affects us all, which is the environment, and even more specifically, oceans sustainability as the mother of all life. And here on one hand, you have overfishing. We cannot have even an agreement where there is a common understanding of how to allow this regeneration of the fish in the oceans surrounding us. My question is, can ASEAN take leadership in some issue such as this, which leads not only to greater awareness, but actually passes through into acceptance and then, let's say, actually implementation or so on. Now, I only raise this on oceans because of the larger point that you made on China, India, and coming sooner than later, you can have the whole world in a trade pact. But basically, we have to fructify around specific issues. Where's ASEAN's position on this?
Thank you very much.
Actually, the question is about, let me say, two of the central elements in the ASEAN Boot 2015 vision. Number one is to ensure balanced, equitable, and sustained progress on all the three pillars of the community. And second is, making ASEAN more a regional and global player. ASEAN engaging more at the global level. And that's the reason why, in the process of developing our new vision, we have tried to align our priorities to the new global, agenda, the Sustainable Development Agenda 2030, adopted by the United Nations. Sustainability, of course, is the objective that we set to achieve, and that through the effort to ensure that the community that we are striving to strengthen would be one, people-oriented, people-centered, where, the principle of consultation and participation of all stakeholders in the ASEAN affairs, is paramount.
Secretary General, I'm afraid that we've run out of time, and we need very soon to bring the session to an end. But I'd like to thank you for your answers to those questions, for engaging with me in conversation, and more than anything, thank you again for your really, really excellent Fullerton Lecture, the 25th in the series, so it's quite a big event for us. We're very grateful to you for making time in what I know is a very busy schedule during a short visit to Singapore to come to speak to us this morning. So all our thanks for everything you've done for us this morning. Thank you very much. Thank you.